Hi guys, it's Chris at Cork and Crown. Still not in the shed, still in a garden in Devon, still trying ciders from Somerset. And the one I've got today is quite an unusual one. It is from Pilton. I've had some good stuff from Pilton. I don't know if you remember the last one I tried from Pilton though. It's called Scarlet Sharp. And I was a little bit confused by it. It had a lot going on, an awful lot going on. Black currants, hops, whiskey barrels, keeved, just all sorts of stuff going on, and I found it was a bit confusing. I couldn't isolate any of those things particularly, except the black currant, which tastes like Ribena. That's the only thing I could really isolate. And this is in a similar kind of vein, actually. It has a quite interesting waxed top on there, as you can see. I'm going to read what it says on the side. This complex fruit cider combines barrel-aged cherry wine with new season keeved cider. Somerset cherries were fermented on the flesh in July 2019 and aged in red wine barrels for 7 months. Dry herbed meadowsweet add subtle almond notes, and cryo-extracted floribunda crabs add tart acidity. Natural sweetness and soft tannins are laid in from Somerset bittersweet apples for a confident cider finish. Blending and herbs in collaboration with Merlin Labron Johnson for Osip Bruton. Okay, lots happening there. So the cryo-extracted floribunda crabs, I assume that's crab apples. I'm going to assume. I assume that's what it is, rather than crabs. Add tart acidity, and they would bring a lot of acidity because that's the nature of crab apples. So there's a lot happening here. You got cherry wine, you got red wine barrels, you got herbs, you got crab apples, you got keeved cider. It's an awful lot of stuff. So I'm going to like it. Am I going to like it? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? But also, let's have a look at this. I've got some cheese as well. And here it is. It's a cheese. It is from Sharpen Dairy / Creamery. I was there a few days ago. I did a wine and cheese pairing with their Ticklemore in a video like 2 or 3 films ago. This is from the same place. It is called Clémy. It is a goat's. Is this goat's? Yeah. It's a Clémy. So I thought it was a triple cream, just a straight triple cream, which is where you add double cream to the milk to make it super rich and indulgent. Actually, this is a goat's cheese with double cream added. So the double cream will be from cows, not from goats. This will be a goat-cow blend, I assume it would have to be. But they do a double cream called Elmhurst. So I assume they're using the same source of milk for this. It's hard to get cream out of goat's milk. It doesn't naturally cream if you leave it to sit. The cream doesn't rise to the top like it does in cow's milk. It doesn't contain something called cryoglobulin, which is what makes that happen. So trying to get goat's cream, you have to centrifuge it, all sorts of other things. It's complicated. So this will be a cow goat blend, I assume. So there it is. Have a look at it. See that white Penicillium candidum rind? You're familiar with that. Slightly baggy rind. Look at that. Slightly baggy rind. Let's talk about that when we get to it, though, shall we? First off, as this is a cider vlog, let's try some cider. Okay, let's get this waxy top. A beautiful label, actually. Very nicely designed. Collage by Dimitris Katrumpas of the Art Bank Cafe, Shepton Mallet, it says here. Nice job, Dimitris. Nice job. That's a pretty looking label. But, you know, Martin, graphic designer, he likes things to look good. Nothing wrong with that. So let's first off try and get this wax off, shall we? Cut around the wax. Comme ça. Is that going to work? Or am I going to tell you what? Let's just try and do it. Let's try and get this off for starters like this, shall we? Oopsie daisy. No, that's not working. Bear with me, folks. This may take some time. I'd fade in and fade out, but unfortunately, because I'm on holiday, I've already got this app on my phone that does the to do the films with, so I can't do my usual fade in and fade out and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sort of struggling with it. Is this going to go through this? It's all very good having wax on here. Hang on a second. Try again. Oh, hang on. Yay! That only took about 20 minutes. Thanks, mine. I mean, it looks pretty, but blimey neck. Bit of a pain in the ass getting it off. There you go. There's the top with a bit of wax sticking up there, like an antennae. Alright, so carbonation, you can see that. Nice form in there, nice head, nice mousse. Let's pour it out. Now, I think I was there when these cherries were fermenting, because Martin very excitedly ran onto a big blue barrel that was sitting in the middle of his cidery, you know what you call it, and took the lid off. I'd look at this. There's a load of cherries put up there, like bubbling away, fermenting. So I'm pretty sure that's what's in this. It's quite cool. I got to see that wine at its very primary stage of fermentation. So it's hazy. It is kind of cherry coloured, that's for sure. There is some sediment floating around in there. Edible sediment, I'm going to assume. Consumable sediment. Nice fine bubbles. I mean, the colour there, but I cannot see a thing through that. And you can probably see more with the light coming from behind. But to me, looking in this direction, I can see nothing there. Nothing at all. Let's have a sniff. Okay, so what have we got going on here? Definitely a cherry smell. There's definitely a cherry smell. I'll give it that. There is a hint of a Keeve cider. There's a hint of a baked apple in the background. It's definitely there, just subtly, just gently. The cherry's obvious, but it's not totally in your face. It's not like sniffing Benylin cherry cough medicine or something like that. It's not as intense as that. Yeah, fruity, gentle, a little sweetness, a little bit of a Keeve cider element to it, baked apple. That's about it. Cheers. Decent tannin. You can really taste the cherry wine. Comes very obvious. The herbs, I'm not sure about. I don't know what meadowsweet tastes like, so I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. There is tartness. It's not super tart though, but the sweetness of the cherry needs that tartness. It needs that acidity, and Keeve ciders don't tend to be very acid, so it probably needed that as an extra ingredient to balance out the sweetness of the cherry wine. Do I like it? It's pleasant. It's very pleasant. There was this like herbal something going on at the back end. Herbal, botanical something or other. Just a hint of it. I couldn't tell you what it was, but it's definitely there in the back end. Again, it's a bit like the Scarlet Sharp. It's a little bit confusing to me. There's too much going on. The name of this is actually it's called Gone Forever, is the name of the actual beverage. Lost Cherries, Found Herbs. That's like the tagline if you want. Gone Forever it's called. So get hold of some Gone Forever and try it. See what you think. I can't make up my mind. Again, it's one of those things where I like cider and I don't know where this sits. I think I'm getting some of that red wine barrel thing going on as well. I'm feeling like there's a red wine tannic thing going on in the background as well. There's just another thing in there. I'm a little bit confused. I can't decide if I like it. Let's have some cheese. So, creamy from Ticklemore Dairy. Oh no, from Sharpham Creamery, pardon me, not Ticklemore. Ticklemore used to be made at the place called Ticklemore Dairy, but the guy who runs that, Robin Congdon, also made 3 blue cheeses, Harbon Blue, Devon Blue and Beanley Blue. And then he had the Ticklemore, which wasn't blue. So he made one cheese that wasn't blue. So it's simpler just to make blue cheeses rather than trying to make 2 completely different styles of cheese in one space. So he sold the recipe for Ticklemore he passed it on to Sharpham, so they now make the Ticklemore. Even though Ticklemore Dairy still exists, it doesn't make Ticklemore anymore. So, there you go. So yeah, so this is quite industrial looking. That rind is baggy. I do not like to see rinds hanging off cheese. The rind and the paste ought to be integrated. It ought to be one thing. When you see baggy rinds like that, it's a fault. I actually left this out at room temperature for like 36 hours as well, because it was very hard and firm. I wanted to bring it on a bit. It's not going to do any harm, not being in the fridge. People made cheese because they didn't have fridges. It's preserved milk. That's why people started making cheese in the first place. Milk spoils, cheese doesn't. But you can spoil it in terms of spoil the quality, the eating quality of it by not storing it correctly. But really, it's not. There's very little chance it would make you sick if you left it out of the fridge. Okay, let's cut a bit off. Whoops. Okay, let's try a bit. So the rind has just fallen off the cheese. There's the rind. There was the rind. Here's the cheese. I'm going to have it without the rind. Because it's a thick rind. Don't think it's going to bring a lot to the party. So you do get a little bit of that mineral quality from the goat, but there's a massive double cream, clotted cream, buttery richness to this. But also a little bit of bitterness, kind of a sourness, bitterness. And the texture is quite light and loose, but also a little bit mealy in texture. A little bit mealy in texture. I'm going to try one more bit with the rind this time. I can get it in my mouth without dropping it. Yeah, so when the rind's like this, just gets stuck in your teeth. And just having that one mould, Penicillium candidum, it doesn't bring a lot to the party. It's a one-trick pony. You tend to get a bit of mushroominess, maybe a bit of earthiness from it. That's about it. That's about it. And really good goat's cheese, you tend to have more complex rinds, you know, multiple things going on the rind rather than just one thing. But that sort of penicillium mould is very easy to grow. You can spray it on a cheese, stick it in the milk, then stick it in the fridge, and bang, you'll get a nice developed white, pretty rind. But in terms of flavour, which is kind of what it's all about, it's not going to bring a lot to the party. So it's a bit simple, kind of industrial. I associate it with industrial cheeses, and this is not an industrial dairy. It's quite small, you know. So yeah, I'm not loving this cheese. Not loving this cheese. I think it's low in salt. It's lacking salt, which it needs. It's a little bit mealy in texture. The rind is baggy. It's not integrated. It's not doing a great job. I'm left with fattiness on my palate. I'm left with a slightly kind of bitter on my palate. Not quite bitter. It's like almost like a metallic flavour, minerally flavour, which I don't love. And actually, it's quite cloying. So I need some more bubbles to get rid of it. So I'm going to do this. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. Yeah, I think adding double cream to goat's milk isn't necessary. I think what you do is dilute goat's milk by adding the cream to it. And if I want a goat's milk cheese, I want it to taste the goat's milk. And it's unnecessary to add double cream to something. It's a waste of cream sometimes, really. It's not going to add something. You know, less is more. Less is more. You don't need to add stuff to it. It feels indulgent because you've added double cream to it, but so what? You know, so what? If it doesn't bring anything to the party, if it's just done for the sake of doing it, don't do it. You know, it's a waste of cream and it's a waste of goat's milk. That's what I think. I'm grumpy today, aren't I? Aren't I grumpy today? So yeah, not sure what to say. Again, too much going on, I think. Too much going on. Too much going on. It's great to experiment, and I'm sure mine gets a lot of pleasure from experimenting, but I don't know if I want to pay for somebody else's experiments. I don't think he knew what this was going to be like in any way, shape or form when he made it, and it's quite expensive, and I don't want to pay a lot of money to be a guinea pig. You know, I think I'd rather have a really well made Keith cider. In fact, no, I would rather have a really well made Keith cider. That's what I would like to have, because a great Keith cider, it doesn't need all this extra stuff. It will just be great. You know, it can be a beautiful, brilliant thing, just like a goat's cheese, which is made just with goat's milk. It can be a beautiful, brilliant thing. You know, you don't need. There's enough going on there to start with, without faffing about with it. Okay, I'm going to drink all this though, and I don't think I'm going to eat all that cheese. I really don't. It's not my thing at all. It's not my thing. The tickle mo was a lot better. Okay, guys, I'm going to pour a little bit more of this out. I'm going to say thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me be a grump. I went all day. I'm having a great time actually, so I'm actually in a very good mood. But yeah, don't know about this. If you like cider, this isn't cider. This is something else. I don't know what it is. You know, it's not for me basically. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll join me again. And until you do, thank you and cheers.